On the Ides of March, you wake in Rome with 1 hour to save Caesar. Penniless, unknown, and unable to speak Latin, Brutus, Cassius, and Decimus are already moving into position, while Caesar prepares to leave for the Curia of Pompeii. Somewhere in the crowd, a Greek teacher named Artemodoris carries a written warning that names the conspirators. History says Caesar will accept the scroll but fail to read it in time. Your only chance is to find Artemodoris, earn his trust, and place that warning directly before Caesar's eyes. But how do you reach the most powerful man in Rome when every desperate move makes you look like part of the conspiracy? The straw mat beneath you is rough. The air smells of wood smoke and animal dung, and the street outside is already loud with morning traffic. You have no coin purse, no toga of rank, no senator's seal to open any door that matters. What you do have is one name, one face, and the knowledge that Artemodoris will be somewhere near the Forum Romanum, scroll already written, looking for a way through Caesar's entourage. You push through the doorway into the crowd, scanning every face, and then you see him, a slight man in a Greek himation, clutching a rolled papyrus with both hands. You've memorized one description. A Greek teacher, middle-aged, carrying a scroll he won't let out of his hands. The Forum Romanum is already loud with vendors and priests and citizens pressing toward the morning's business. You scan every face moving through the crowd, looking for someone who doesn't belong to the noise. There, a man near the Temple of Saturn, gripping a rolled document against his chest like it's the only thing keeping him upright. His eyes keep moving to the street that leads toward the Curia, calculating distance, calculating time. You push through the crowd toward him, but the gap between you fills instantly with bodies and noise. By the time you reach the spot where he stood, Artemodoris has shifted 20 feet further along the colonnade, still watching, still gripping that scroll. You step into his sight line and he sees you, and his expression doesn't open, it closes. A stranger moving with purpose toward him is exactly what a frightened man fears most right now. You push through the crowd toward Caesar's litter, close enough to see the laurel wreath on his head. Two of Caesar's lictors step forward before you reach the third row of bystanders, their staffs already moving to intercept you. You have no toga of rank, no seal, no name that means anything to men protecting Rome's most powerful man. They do not shove you. They simply stop you, the way a wall stops water, without anger or effort. Caesar's litter moves past and the gap between you closes. Then you see Decimus walking beside Caesar, speaking calmly and gesturing toward the theater of Pompey. He is not hiding like a conspirator. He is acting like Caesar's trusted friend, controlling his route and deciding who may approach him. You point toward Decimus, but the gesture only makes the lictors close ranks and block you more firmly. To them, you are not exposing a threat. You are the threat. Reaching Caesar is not the real problem. You must reach him before Decimus seals every path. A commotion rises behind the procession. A servant from Caesar's household emerges from the crowd, calling after the litter and repeating one name you recognize: Calpurnia. Far behind him, a woman stands in the doorway of Caesar's house, gripping the stone frame as she watches her husband disappear. You understand almost none of the servant's words, but his fear needs no translation. Calpurnia warned Caesar not to leave after a night of terrible dreams. For a moment, he listened. Then, Decimus transformed her fear into humiliation and convinced him that Rome would see weakness if he remained home. The servant nearly reaches the procession, but one of Decimus's attendants turns him away. Caesar never looks back. The conspirators are not merely waiting inside the Curia. They are controlling every warning and every person allowed near Caesar. If his own household cannot reach him, a stranger has no chance alone. You turn back toward Artemodoris. The scroll will never reach Caesar until the man carrying it decides to trust.
He's watching you, the way a man watches someone he expects to betray him, every muscle coiled tight. You don't speak, because words in the wrong language will end this before it starts, so you act instead. You step between him and a group of soldiers moving through the crowd with their eyes scanning faces. It's a small thing, but he notices, and for one breath neither of you moves. Then you point to the scroll in his hand, then to the direction of the curia, then press your palm flat against your chest. He studies you the way a man reads a sentence he doesn't quite trust, turning it over, looking for the trap. Then he speaks, and even without the words you understand the shape of what happened. He already tried, and Caesar's guards turned him away like he was nothing. The scroll exists, the warning is real, but the path to Caesar is blocked, and time is almost gone. He looks at you again, differently now, the way a man looks at a door he didn't know was there. Artemodoris presses into the crowd, with the scroll held against his chest. You move beside him, creating space as Caesar's litter approaches the theater steps. For one moment, the opening is real. Artemodoris reaches forward, but Decimus steps into the gap and silently blocks his path. He does not seize the scroll. That would reveal his fear. He calmly signals a lictor, who steps between you and the procession, ending the attempt.
Artemodoris points to a nearby senator, then raises the warning and gestures towards Caesar's route. The senator understands, hesitates, and reaches for the scroll. Cassius notices. He intercepts the senator and whispers something you cannot understand. The man's expression changes. He lowers his hand and walks away without touching the scroll. Artemodoris pulls it safely back against his chest, but Cassius has now seen both of you. He leans toward Decimus, and two conspirators turn to watch the crowd. Your attempts have failed, and each has made the next one harder. Decimus controls the route. Cassius controls the men around him. The next attempt must happen before either has time to stop it.
The entrance to the curia is now visible. Once Caesar passes through it, the warning becomes a record of what you failed to stop. Artemodoris looks at you, and you both understand there will not be another attempt. A merchant's cart blocks the edge of the street. You pull its handle, spilling baskets across the stones. Citizens shout and the outer lictors turn toward the disturbance. That moment is enough. Artemodoris slips through the opening with the scroll raised high, calling Caesar's name. Decimus sees him and moves to intercept, but the confused crowd blocks his path. Caesar turns and recognizes Artemodoris as a petitioner. The teacher reaches the litter and thrusts the warning forward. A lictor blocks your path as Cassius calls from the theater steps. Decimus approaches Artemodoris, pretending he only wants to collect the warning with the other petitions. But Caesar has already taken it. Caesar reads the first lines. His eyes stop at one name, Decimus. The smile disappears from Decimus's face. Caesar looks from the scroll to the trusted friend who persuaded him to attend. Then he raises one hand, and the entire procession stops. Caesar reads the warning again, more slowly. His eyes move from Decimus to Cassius, then toward the entrance where Brutus and the others wait. He does not panic. His silence is more dangerous than an accusation. Decimus begins to speak, but Caesar cuts him off. The lictors close around the litter and seize Decimus before he can retreat. Cassius disappears into the crowd. Near the theater entrance, Brutus steps backward and vanishes among the senators. Caesar cannot know whether every name is guilty, but he has seen enough.
Calpurnia's fear, Decimus's insistence, Artemodoris's warning, and Decimus's reaction. The procession turns away from the Curia. Caesar will not enter the chamber where history expected him to die. Then he points toward you and Artemodoris. For one moment, you expect arrest. Instead, two lictors place you inside Caesar's protective formation. You cannot understand the command, but you understand its meaning. Artemodoris is alive. You are alive. Caesar is alive. Behind you, the conspiracy fractures as Rome realizes its future has changed.
Caesar returns under heavy guard,
While the Curia empties into confusion. Decimus is taken away. Cassius slips into a side street while the other conspirators scatter across Rome. Brutus's fate remains uncertain. No one knows how many names can be proven or when the conspirators will strike again. You and Artemodoris remain inside Caesar's protection. The conspirators know who delivered the warning, but Caesar knows it too. For now, his authority is the reason both of you are still alive. Saving Caesar does not repair the Republic.
His survival might make him more cautious or more suspicious. He could show mercy, tighten his control, or drive his enemies toward open war.
Rome might find peace or enter a conflict history has never recorded. That uncertainty is the cost of changing the past. You once knew who would rise and what followed the Ides of March. Now that map is useless. You saved one life and changed the course of history, but you cannot know whether the world you created will be better or worse. You did not save Rome. You gave it another future. The ripple does not stop. It never stops.